Om Namo Venkatesaya. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Viknopashantaye Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanideye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha. Yasya Smarana Matrena Janma Samsara Bandhanat Vimuchyate Namastasme Vishnave Prabha Vishnave Lakshmi Natha Samarambam Natha Yamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Partaya Pradibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Namo Venkatesaya. Pranams to everybody. So we have completed the Gita Dhyana slokas, 9 slokas composed by Madhusudana Saraswati. Before we get into the Gita slokas as such, we'll spend little time, maybe a few sessions on Geethartha Sangraham. That means Bhagavad Gita, it's a great devotion or a forest. It's about 700 slokas. So some of the acharyas, like, this Alavandar is one of the important Vaishnava acharyas. In fact, in Guru Parampara Stotram, Sri Vaishnava Guru Parampara Stotram, he comes in the middle of, this Acharya Parampara. Lakshmi Natha Samarambam. That means starts from Sriman Narayana. Natha Yamuna Madhyam. So Natha Munigal is one of the acharyas, and then his grandson is Alavandar. He was named as Yamunacharya. So Bhagavan's name is Yamuna. Suyamunaha. We find that name, in Srimad Vishnu Sahasranamam. He was named as Yamunacharya. And subsequently, when he was quite young, was able to take on a pandit in the Chola kingdom, and therefore the queen of that the wife of that queen was so much pleased with him. He was about 6-7 years old. He was able to win over that arguments. So he just hugged him and said, "Yammai Alavandare." That means you have come to rule us, and therefore out of his happiness, the king gave half of his kingdom. Therefore he was ruling that kingdom. That's why he is called as Alavandar. And subsequently, of course, through one of the disciples of Sri Natha Munigal, he completely renounced everything and came into the sannyasa ashrama, and he composed several things. Now, none of them is called as Geethartha Sangraham. Gita Artha Sangraham. That means it's like an executive summary of the Bhagavad Gita meaning. Artha means meaning. The meaning of the Bhagavad Gita he has composed in 32 slokas. We'll just briefly go through, in the next few sessions on what, because that will give us an over idea. Whenever you look at any great report, you first look at the executive summary. So that means what is it contain in the detailed summary, in the detailed descriptions. So we just want to get a summary of what is being talked of in this various 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Once you get an overview, then of course we can go into the slokas one by one as such. So the first sloka, which he is talking about the Yamunacharya, is in fact summarizing the entire Bhagavad Gita in sloka. Swadharma Jnana Vairagya Sadhya Bhaktyeka Gocharaha Narayana Param Brahma Gita Shastre Samiritaha. So what is he saying? Gita Shastre Samiritaha. In this Gita Shastram has been very well established. What is being established? Narayanaha Param. Sriman Narayana is the Param Paratattva. So he is the ultimate God. That is what is being extremely established in this Bhagavad Gita Shastram. That's one. Second thing is, how do we approach it? That is, one is the Tattvam. That's why Gita is called as Brahma Vidya Yoga Shastra. Brahma Vidya is the knowledge about the Brahman. That's what is being talked of. Second is the Yoga Shastra. Yoga Shastra, Yuj. The word Yuj means to unite. Yogam. Yoga means the path of reaching the Bhagavan as such. That is also being contained in Gita. So it's not enough that we know who is the Bhagavan Paramatma, but how do we reach him? That is also important. No? So ultimately our goal is only to reach him. So the path also is to be known. So that's what is being talked of in the first line. Swadharma Jnana Vairagya Sadhya Bhaktihi Eka Gocharaha. So Bhakti alone is the path. Eka Gocharaha means that is the only path that can lead us to Sriman Narayana. So Bhakti Eka Gocharaha. That means the only path that can lead us to this Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. And then how is this Bhakti attained? So you see, you can say that Bhakti through the path of Bhakti. Then how does one get Bhakti? That's what is being talked of in the first few lines, first few words. Swadharma Jnana Vairagya. Swadharma, that means one has to follow the path of duty. One has to complete, whatever is that's the reason why, Bhagavan is asking Arjuna to fight the battle. So when he says, I want to run away from the battle, he says, your Swadharma, your Dharma of Kshatriya, is to fight the battle and establish dharma. So that means one has to follow the path of swadharma, one's own path of one's own dharma, jnana, and then ultimately knowing through following the path of dharma, one gets to the knowledge about one's own self as well as this about Bhagavan. Sadhya, that is the one which is going to lead us. So vairagyam. Vairagyam is dispassion. And once you know that, through the jnana, all this world is, this transient, temporary. What is ultimate is the Bhagavan as such. So that is the knowledge which comes through vairagya. Vairagya means we say vigataha ragaha viragi. Vairagya. That means one who is able to leave aside his attachments to this universe. Vairagyam. All these three things lead us to the bhakti. So that means swadharma, jnana, vairagya, which leads us to bhakti. And bhakti is the only means of knowing Bhagavan. And Bhagavan Sriman Narayan is completely established in this Gita Sastram. That's what is being talked. Question arises, why not we directly do bhakti? Why not we do all other things? Means it's very difficult to get into the mode of bhakti directly. For example, when you fall sick, suppose let's assume that this Mysore pak is one of your favorite sweet. So when you fall sick, what will happen when somebody offers you even a full, this box of Mysore pak? You will say, no, I'm not interested in that because let me first get well. Then only I can enjoy the Mysore pak as such. So that means we are all this karma and this, in this clutches of this karma as well as this ragadvesha. Therefore, we are not able to get into the mode of bhakti. Even if somebody talks about greatness about Bhagavan, we are not able to, enjoy what is being talked of because we are into this samsara, this karma. So how do we get rid of this karma? Through this taking this medicine. The medicine is karma yoga, swadharma, and vairagyam. So these are the three things that so one has to follow the path of dharma. Then only it will remove all our, this attachments to this world, and therefore you get relieved from this karma bondage, and therefore then bhakti becomes easy to practice and then easy to understand. Then you follow the path of dharma. So that is what is the summarizing the entire message of Bhagavad Gita in the first sloka itself. Then the next sloka is Jnana karmatmike nishte yoga lakshye susamskrite atmanubhuti siddhyarte purva shatkena chodite. Now he is going a little elaboration. That is, he's talking about the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. The chapter 18, there are 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. You can split them into 6 and 6 and 6. Because the Advaitins interpret it as Tattvamasi. There is a, what you call this, Mahavakyam. So the way each Veda has got different Mahavakyam. So all these Sacharyas, ask the people to reflect on the meaning of this Mahavakyam. So that means one Mahavakyam which is found in this Sama Upanishad, the Sama Veda, Kinopanishad, this is Chandyoga Upanishad, is Tattvamasi. Tat, that is Bhagavan, Tvam, you. Asi, that means that Bhagavan is yourself. So that is what is being talked of in this Tattvamasi. So the first 6 chapters are talking about Tvam. Tvam means the Jivatma. So the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita talks about the Jivatma, what are the various qualities of Jivatma and what should Jivatma do to attain Bhagavan. And second 6 chapters talks about the Tat. Tat is the Bhagavad Swarupam. So Bhagavad, from 7 to 12, it is talking about the Bhagavad Swarupam. And of course, 13 to 18 is a combination of all these things. And again, restating whatever has been said in the previous, this 12 chapters to give credit, to give more emphasis on certain aspects. So that is what is the summary of this Bhagavad Gita, the first 6 chapters. Again, he's saying, Jnana karmatmike nishte yoga lakshye susamskrite atmanubhuti siddhyarte purva shatkena chodya. So in the first 6 months, what is 6 chapters? What is being talked of is the performance of the desireless karma. That means karma yoga is being talked of in the first 6 karma, as well as this fourth chapter. It talks about the jnana karma also, a little bit of knowledge also, jnana, and then with the 6th chapter is practicing of this meditation yoga, and then with this one can realize what is the nature of one's own jivatma. So the first 6 chapters contain knowledge, the practice of karma yoga, a little bit of knowledge about one's own self, and then practicing the yoga through meditation, the chapter 6. That is what is being contained in the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, now the next 6 chapters. Madhyame Bhagavad Tattvaya Tatma Vyapti Siddhaye Jnana Karmabir Nirvatyo Bhakti Yoga Prakirtitaha. So in the middle 6, that is 7 to 12, Bhakti Yoga is being brought about, is being talked of, which is brought about through this karma and jnana. So in the first 6 chapters, we practice this karma and jnana, and through that we get into the Bhakti Yoga mode. Bhakti Yoga is being talked of. And through the Bhakti Yoga, we know about the true knowledge of Bhagavan. Tattva Jnana, that means to the true knowledge of Bhagavan himself, the exact knowledge of Bhagavan, the Supreme Being as he is. That is what is being the second chapter. That is chapter 7 8, 9, 10, and 10, 11, and 12 talk about the Bhagavad Swarupa. So you get to know in fact, to know about Bhagavan itself, first you should know what you are and then what you should do. Then you can know about the Bhagavan as such. So that is what it is, 7 to 12. Pradhana Purusha Vyakta Sarveshwara Vivechitam Karmadir Bhaktir Yadi Purvasesho Antimodita. So what is being talked of in the last, this 13 to 18. So in the last 13 to 18, what is being talked of is the Prakriti and Purusha. Chapter 13 is Chetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. That means the matter and the matter is Prakriti, and therefore the Atma, the Purusha is the Jivatma. This is being talked of in these chapters. Then the Ishvara, the person, Bhagavan is the ruler, which is the chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga. And then all the disciplines leading to the work, knowledge, devotion, and again, or being, that is again, whatever is being said in the first 6 and the 7 to 12 is being reinstated in the chapters 13 to 18 for us to get more clarity in what is being talked of in the first 12 chapters. So that is what is the 13 to 18. Asthana Sneha Karunya Dharma Dharma Diyakulam Partha Praparna Muddishya Shastra Vataranam Kritam. So what is being, now he is talking about each chapter, what is being talked of in the first chapter. The first chapter is being given by, is called as Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Arjuna's Vishada Yogam. That is where he is in the case of confusion. So what is being talked of is overtaken by the misplaced love and compassion, and also is not sure what is dharma and what is adharma. So that is the kind of confusion that Arjuna has, and therefore he has taken complete refuge in Sri Krishna Paramatma. So the first chapter talks about Arjuna's confusion of what is dharma and adharma, and also his misplaced love and affection to his kith and kin. That is what is creating confusion for him, and that's what is the Arjuna's Vishada Yoga. That is the first chapter. And thereafter in the second chapter, he just surrenders to him. Prapannoham Sishyoham. So I have surrendered to you and I have become your disciple. So tell me what is good for me. That is what Arjuna says. So that is the first chapter is Arjuna's Vishada Yoga. Nityatma Sangha Karma Gocharaha Sankhya Yogodihi Dvitiya Sthita Likshaya Prokta Tan Moha Shantai. That means in the second chapter, Bhagavan is trying to slowly clear the confusion or the delusion that Arjuna has got. He talks of 3 things in chapter 2. What is the first thing he talks about is, he's talking about the Brahma Vidya. His comprehensive, his eternal self. That is, he's talking about the Jivatmas. What is Jivatma? Jivatma is eternal. That's what he's saying. Eternal self of the one. And then second one, he's talking about the Karma Yoga also. In the second chapter, he's talking about disinterested activity. That means doing it as an offering to the Bhagavan, or doing it for the others and not for one's own self. That is removing the actions without the selfishness. That is what is being talked of, the Karma Yoga. That is Brahma Vidya and Karma Yoga. And then that leads to the stage of called Sthita Prajna. So the last aspect of this chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, is called as Sankhya Yoga. He talks about the Sthita Prajna. That means a person who is ever remaining in this Sthita Prajna. That means he ever remaining in that this self, the Jivatma self. Then what will be his qualities and what will be his actions? That is what is being talked of in the Sthita Prajna. So that is what is being talked of in the chapter 2. So we'll continue with that tomorrow and complete the summary of what is being contained in the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Then we move on to the shlokas as such. Om Namo Venkateshaya Vasudeva Vasutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanastu.